What's up, real MVPs? Ricky Widmer here, and welcome into another edition of MVP Games Live right here. You may be watching us live on YouTube, or you may be watching us after the fact. No matter how you are watching us today, thank you for giving us your time on this wonderful Monday, June 7th. As we are recording this live, I am joined, as I always am, with my beautiful co-host, Soapy Muffin. Soapy, how you doing?
Hey, doing good. How are you?
You know what? It's one of the Mondays where for some reason I have felt super tired all fucking day. Woke up early, as I usually have done lately. Usually I'm not sleeping in as much. And then for some reason, like around 2, 3 o'clock, my body will just be like, "Yo, bro, you gotta fucking lay down. You gotta lay down and take a nap." But then my mind goes, "Hey, bro, you can't take a nap." Today was one of the days where deep thought did get me for an hour, Soapy. So right now you may look at it and go, "Man, Ricky looks fucking tired." It's because I am fucking tired. Because I had just woken up for a nap right before the show has started. But we are back talking about gaming for today. Actually doing something that we love to do on Mondays. If you're new to the show, we love breaking some molds is what we call it. We call it Mold Breaker Monday, where instead of talking about the news, I know there's a Splinter or there's a Tom Clancy game that is got Twitter and the internet all wrapped up because it's apparently a AAA game that is going to combine Splinter Cell, The Division, and what's the third one? Splinter Cell, The Division, and Ghost Recon, all in one game. Thank you, Soapy. We could talk about that later this week. We don't need to talk about that right now. We're going to talk about just a general gaming topic. As you guys can see, we're talking about game devs today and our favorites of all time to kind of break some molds. Before we get into everything, though, let's get the housekeeping out of the way. Number one, if you are not a part of the MVP Discord, you can go ahead and join that today for free. It's the best community in the universe, and that link is down below in the description. Go ahead, click that link, and get yourself into it right away. If you want to support us, patreon.com/MVPvids. You can go ahead and do that and be rewarded for doing so. We got the bronze, the silver, the gold, the platinum tiers. If you'd like to support us, that link is in the description as well. And then last but not least, sub and hit that notification bell, or as I like to say, notification bell, so you can get not notified, you can get notificated on when videos and other streams are going up. One video I'm actually working on 2 videos for this channel specifically. I had watched the new season of the Rugrats. I'm doing a review for it, and then also might be working on a second video about Grandpa Lou, because I have some separate things to talk about when it comes to Grandpa Lou and that series. So those are 2 videos that are probably coming to this channel in the near future. But Soapy, let's get into what we're talking about today, and we are talking about game devs. And before we get into everything, Tim says, "Got a case of the Mondays, eh, Ricky?" Yes, I do. Got a case of the Mondays, Garfield. No longer Tim in YouTube chat. His name is now Garfield. And then Bill says, "Ghost Recon, the Splinter Cell division." It's probably the new name, Soapy. It's probably the new name for that game. But we're talking game devs today. Kind of just talking about our favorites. These are probably game devs that have games that are near and dear to our hearts. And Soapy, as many Mold Breaker Mondays are, this is from the brain, and it is a brainchild of the Soapy Muffin. So who better to kick us off first than you, my guy? Who is a game dev that you kind of want to start the conversation with, and how do you want to get this conversation rolling?
Yeah, so I may as well hit the softball one of most people have these guys up there. They've made a lot of really good games. For instance, Jake, I think at some point said he re-downloaded one of their games recently.
Okay.
A little bit. It's a little known company is Rockstar.
Okay, yeah. GTA,
Yeah.
of course, like GTA, Red Dead. Did they make Mafia?
No.
Okay.
They made it's GTA, Bully, Red Dead, LA Noir, You're looking for a really old game they don't make anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Manhunter.
Manhunter.
That was the one where you play as like the dentist to brutally murder people and got banned in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I think it's just I absolutely love their games. There literally has yet to be a time like besides like I haven't played every single one of their games, so mind you, there probably is one out there I don't really care for.
Yeah.
But literally love every single one of their games, and it's always I love that they are always an extremely polished company. Like their games don't launch in really bad situations, even though like Red Dead Online stinks.
Mm-hmm.
But like it's still fun because it's basically just playing Red Dead.
Yeah, and I mean, like, for me, I'm trying to think. The only Rockstar game that I can think of that I have not played is Bully. I think that's because I've played.
Oh.
So, well, okay. I should say Bully and then the last two GTAs. Didn't play. I played some of 4, never played 5. Basically, I have been one that it was GTA 3 all the way up to San Andreas. San Andreas was the one right before 4, right?
Yep.
Yeah. GTA 3 to San Andreas for the GTA series. Played Red Dead 2. Haven't played Red Dead 1. Been told I have to play that. And then obviously Bully. I haven't played Bully as well. So I mean, maybe I lied. There's a couple games from Rockstar I guess I haven't played. A little bit more than one, Soaps.
Oh, and I'm just saying, dude, you'd absolutely love Bully.
Sell me
It makes you think in the game. You got to go to classes, my guy.
Sell me on Bully because I've never played it. I know seeing commercials when I was a kid. Let's see. What year? Do you know off the top of your head? And this is a quiz. Don't look it up. When did the first Bully game come out? This is a Soapy quiz. I don't want you to look it up.
I'm trying to think. I know it came out on the PS2, so it's pretty old.
It did come out on the PS2.
I'm gonna say 2009.
Close. Minus 3 years from that 9.
Oh, 2006.
Came out October 17th of 2006. So, like, for me, at that time, I was, what? A sophomore in high school? Like, I remember seeing the commercials for it, but, like, at that time, I was more, like, high school was a weird time for me. Because, like, as we've talked about, there were things that I was into pre-high school that when I got to high school, I wasn't into anymore, mainly because my friend group was not into those things. That looking back, I was like, man, like wrestling is one of them. Where looking back, I'm like, shit, I shouldn't have probably got out of that just because my friend group was not into it. And besides World of Warcraft, there were a select few games outside of WoW that was taking up my time when it came to between sophomore and senior year of high school.
Yeah. So basically, just a way of kind of pushing it. Essentially, Bully is a game where, you play as kind of like, I'll say the shithead kid. I'll say it like that. Like, he's the kid no one really likes. He's kind of like the douchebag at the school.
Mm-hmm.
He's also the new kid. Essentially, it's kind of, your rise to the top amongst the school's hierarchy.
Kind of like a Lord of the Flies thing within the school. You start at the bottom and you're going up, and you are now the king of the school, kind of a thing through bullying tactics.
Oh, I mean, not really through bullying. More of one person tries to murder you as a child, but
what?
Yeah,
what? Like a kid or an adult, or
another
is this
kid.
a spoiler?
It's another kid.
Okay.
It happens really early on. That's the only reason why I'm being like, okay, it's not really a spoiler.
Okay. So maybe I have to check this game out. Maybe I do need to play Bully after all this time.
Oh yeah, I think it's a really good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it's a game that I suggest a lot of people play.
Yeah.
And it's because the fact that, like, whenever people bring up Rockstar games, like, they always just bring up the same two of Red Dead and GTA 5, which don't get me wrong, they are their best games, in my opinion. Like, but at the same time, LA Noir is a fucking great game.
Forgot about LA Noir. LA Noir is You said great game, Soapy. It is not a great game. It is a goddamn masterpiece of a game.
And for anyone who has not played LA Noir, you need to play it. I don't care if you don't like crime detection games.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even like those style of games, and LA Noir is in like my top 10 of all time.
I love the setting of it, to where it was like, it obviously this is going to be redundant because it's in the title, but like, I am a fan of that like noir kind of time in history, where it was just like the story was interesting to get into. The game itself, like the thing with Rockstar Games is like, you made a comment of like, oh, their games are very rarely put out and like are bad, but like when you play a Rockstar game, their style and like the look of the game, like for example GTA, and I would put LA Noir into this as well. Is it a, how do I put this? Does the game look like it's like, oh man, it's as crisp as like what we get with like the RTX Nvidias and stuff like that, or oh my god, it looks so realistic and lifelike? Probably not. But they're great games. They run well. LA Noir is one where, to me, the story is what really brought me in. Like, you're in this story, and then the twist that happens at the end, you're like, holy shit. And then it kind of goes, oh, well, I guess we'll see if we ever get a sequel.
Oh yeah, and that's just another thing with it too. I think that's kind of like the hidden gem of their games. Like obviously, It's not really hidden.
Yeah.
Because if you're looking for it, you'll definitely find it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and bring in one. So I have one, but I'm gonna leave my absolute favorite until the end. I'm actually gonna bring one in that Tim brings up in YouTube chat. Yet again, this is kind of like a little softball. Like you brought up like a softball that might have gone for a double. This game studio is a good studio, good developer, but it's more of like a single, more of a grounder type of hit. And I would say I agree with Tim that Telltale has to be on this list of favorite game devs because, yes, they have made some absolute terrible games. And I just need to throw it out there, the Guardians of the Galaxy Telltale game is absolutely shit. And you should never play it. Don't waste your time on it. But, like, this is a studio that the Batman Telltale game, it's on my PlayStation. I have to get around to playing it. The Walking Dead Telltale games, loved playing those games. My favorite Telltale game, though, would have to be The Wolf Among Us. Mark and I played that for MVP Sports. Maybe I'll go through and I will kind of go find those videos, re-release them as like retro videos on this channel so that you guys can see them if you have not already. But like, to me, just those alone. They even have, the Game of Thrones Telltale game, if I'm not mistaken, like Back to the Future. Like, these were games where I really like the ones that I played besides Guardians of the Galaxy. So mainly The Walking Dead and then Wolf Among Us. They were really well made games. And to me, I am a fan of games to where it's like, okay, I have to make a decision. How is this going to affect the game going forward? Because I'm also one of like replay value with that, to where it's like, ooh, I want to go back and I want to go back to this save. And how would things change if I made a different decision?
Yeah, I think they're a company that obviously, at one point they went under. And, like, dude, that was so fucking sad to me.
Yeah.
And it was mostly, not even just because the fact of, like, oh, I liked this company. I think it was the fact of, like, oh, seeing this company that made so many great games, I think really messed with me in a sense of where I was like, come on, man, no. Like, I can't see this company go. Especially because,
Tales of the Borderlands as well, which is also a good game.
Yeah, fucking phenomenal game. Anyone who hasn't played it, take your opportunity to buy it, because it'll probably end up falling off the store again, like it did like 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's the fact of like, I really like their games, and it's simply because of the fact. Not many games have gotten me to cry before. That's not even me trying to be like, oh, I'm a big fucking tough macho guy. Like, I've actually genuinely had like a good cry playing their games before.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think. Games that have... Is that a different Moldbreaker Monday? Games that have made us cry?
I mean, you can add it to the list.
I'm trying to think for me. For me, I'm like you. There's not a lot of games that have actually like brought me to tears. I would have to say first time I played Last of Us, because the thing for me at the time that kind of made me emotional about it is like when you get to the end of that game, you have literally it's the scene where you're like in the building with like the roof that's kind of taken out of it, and like Ellie runs ahead and Joel gets all scared and you're like, oh shit, something's gonna happen, she ran ahead. But then it's like, oh, Ellie's just sitting there like petting a giraffe, and it's just like this real surreal type of scene. They look out, you see the beautiful landscape, you see the beautiful mountains in the background, and then you see like the group of giraffes just like walking, and it's like, wow, in a game where we have had so much chaos, there's zombies or infected running around, kind of gives you a little bit of peace. Plus it also is like, okay, take all of this in right now, because the end of this game is going to get emotional, and we're just going to ramp things up going into the end. This is kind of like your little like, okay, here's your little piece before we ramp everything up and finish the game. I'm trying to think if Days Gone got me to cry. I don't remember if that one did, but like I said, there's not many games that have, like you, moved me to actual tears, because I'll say this, I don't know about you, Soapy, it's kind of hard for a medium that is not real life to move me to tears.
Oh yeah, I mean, and that's the thing of where you're able to separate, and I'm not saying you specifically, I'm just saying like kind of in general, it's easy to separate yourself from like that sort of medium, because the fact of like, okay, you know, we're playing, like, I'm just gonna use an example of like, you know, games let you kind of not caring about something, because like, I'm just gonna use Red Dead for example, like with Red Dead 2, you already kind of know what's coming up.
Red Dead got me angry more than cry.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's the fact of like at the very end of where, you know, spoiler alert for Red Dead 2, Arthur dies at the end of the game.
Yeah.
And, you know, to some people, that was fucking devastating. To me, like, obviously after playing the first one, I'm like, there's a reason I don't see this guy in the first game. I'm like, I have a feeling something bad's gonna happen. Lo and behold, it was right.
Yeah, I think the thing in Red Dead 2 that almost moved me to tears is when the horse died at the end. That almost moved me to tears, because you're a good boy. That's a good boy. All through the game, you're like, oh, that's a good boy. That's a good boy. And then your horse dies. That almost moved me to tears, but I didn't actually cry. I'm assuming the Telltale game that moved you to tears was The Walking Dead 1, right?
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. Yeah. I still am. 1 and 2. I will say this right now. I have not played, like, the third one, where Clementine's an adult. I have not played that one.
I have not either. I only played the first 2.
The first 2 legitimately had it to where, like, I had to take a fucking break after playing them, because I'm like, no, I can't.
Did you do the same thing that I did, where after...
Kill Kenny, and then you realized you were fucking wrong?
Well, no, not
that's
that.
What I did in the second one.
Everyone fucking did that. I did that too. But with the first one, basically when the ending happened, did you go back to an old save and go, maybe there's a decision I could have made to fucking change this? Maybe it was my fault it happened. If I made a different decision, it would have never happened. He would have never died, Soapy.
I don't think I did that. I think what I did, my first one, was I had killed Kenny because I'm like, alright, Kenny's lost his fucking marbles. And then when I heard the baby cry, literally, without fucking missing a beat, I heard the baby cry, I paused the fucking game, and it was just like, I'm not even seeing how this fucking ends, I'm going back. I'm like, I ain't gonna be fucking lied to.
Oh, man, I remember doing that and going, oh, fuck, I made a mistake. I fucked up. I fucked up.
I'm the fucking clown.
I'm the goof. Oh, man, there's egg on my face, Soapy. Just dripping all down my face. But yeah, Telltale, fucking phenomenal. Game dev. I'll kick it to you. Who's the next one, I should say, that you would like to mention? Also, I will say, Bill in YouTube chat says the Guardian of the Galaxy game is probably the one exception to the string of good games that Telltale had. But who's the next dev that you want to bring up, my guy?
I actually got to agree with Tim on one of them. Hilarion Game Studios is one of the ones that is really good, and it's mostly because most of the games they've made, I fucking adore. For instance, they're the ones who make the Baldur Gate games. They made Divinity Original Sin 2 with the help of Obsidian. It took me a second to remember who fucking made it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember some of the other things they've made.
So, according to the Wikipedia, they've got the Divinity series, which is Divine Divinity, Beyond Divinity, Divinity 2, 3, Dragon Commander, Original Sin, and Original Sin 2. Their licensed games were Baldur Gate 3 in 2020. They had educational games, Ketnek Kick, Adventure Rock, Gullyland, and Superia, and then other games. It says The Lady, the Mage, and the Knight, and then LED Wars.
Yeah, it's just their games across the board to me have always been like super high quality. Like, I've never had a situation with their games where I'm like, oh, I got fucking ripped off. I've never had that situation with them.
Yeah.
Where, like, with some companies, play their game and you just sit there and you're like, this was a fucking waste of money. With them, I literally have never experienced that.
Yeah, I mean,
every time you can get hundreds of hours out of their game, like, just easily. Which I know, obviously, some people would be like, well, hundreds of hours isn't that long. Well, considering the fact that these games are meant to be played for months on end. Because Divinity Original Sin, like, if you don't know how to just speedrun that game, you'll be stuck in the first area for, like, fucking 10 years, essentially. You'll be like, alright, how do I fight this guy without fucking dying?
And remember, like, games, yet again, maybe this is me showing my age, when it came to, depending on when the game was made, back in the day, there was no internet for some games. Or there was no internet at all, to where it was like, I still remember a time, Soapy, where I'd be stuck on a game so long to where it's basically like, well, I guess I'm not completing this game. Because the only way that I would be able to complete it is either spending the money to get the strategy guide for the game, or to wait for, like, the Nintendo Power or the other game magazines that you would buy subscriptions for, and see if by the grace of God somebody had written in, or that they had an article about said game to help you get past a part, so that you could beat a video game.
Yeah, and the thing that I love so much with it, when I played Divinity Original Sin 2, and I think Tim may agree with me on this, I don't know if this is just like Tim's like some super big brain gamer, and I just don't know about it or something. But when you first get to the island, I straight up got fucking lost like 10 minutes on beating the island. Yeah. And it wasn't like that frustrating, like, son of a bitch, where the fuck am I supposed to go? It was like I didn't know, like, why the fuck is this on this island?
Yeah.
Like, it almost was like a happy loss, not like a, oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Like,
I'm just taking the scenic route, kind of like one of those Lost.
yeah, of where it's like when you finally get there, it's like, oh yeah, hey, guess what, motherfucker? I already found a dead guy. What are you gonna fucking do? And then like, the first interaction you have with the guards, it's like, oh, okay, I'm not in a safe space. I'm in a fucking, they're gonna rip my goddamn tongue out if I shit talk them fit in space.
Oh man, but yeah, Larian Games is one where I don't have much to say on it. I haven't played any of the Divinity series, have not played Baldur's Gate, so this is one where like I'm glad you were able to bring that up, Soapy, because like when I saw Tim say it, I was like, fuck, I don't have anything to say on that one because I just haven't played any of the games. But the last one that Tim brought up, I do have some to say about. They do make some good games. They also have some games that you really like. And would you put BioWare on this list of a favorite dev of all time?
I'd put them on there, but I'd mostly say old BioWare. I wouldn't say like newer. And it's mostly because by this point, that company's been basically drained of everything because EA's drained it from them.
Good point. Good point. Are you talking about like Mass Effect 1 and 2 era?
Yeah,
BioWare?
like back in like Mass Effect 1, 2, 3, not Andromeda because fuck Andromeda.
Yeah.
Like the Dragon Age games, like games like that are ones that I really love.
You're missing their greatest hit of all time, Soapy. A game that Dave was very hyped about that he couldn't wait for.
I mean, hey, if you're talking about biggest hit and the quickest to make it to the dumpster, you're definitely talking about the right game.
Talking about Anthem, of course. Anthem is,
of course.
And also, the one that I will bring up, Bill, kind of stealing my thunder here in YouTube chat, Soapy. He says, what about Naughty Dog? Or did I miss that? Remember when I said I wanted to leave a game dev for last because it's my absolute favorite game dev of all time? Yeah, that was Naughty Dog. Like, Naughty Dog to me is if we were coming up with like a top 5, top 3, top 10, top 20, top 50, any of the top list of game devs, they'd be right here, Soapy. They would be the number one game dev on my list because throughout my entire life, they have made games that have stuck with me and that, like, you go back and it's one of those things where you look back at, like, your career at playing video games and you go, what are the games that shaped either the gamer you are today or had an impact on kind of, like, pushing you in directions into either getting you into video games or giving you the greatest memories with video games, and that is Naughty Dog for me. Crash Bandicoot was the first Naughty Dog game I ever played. I absolutely love that fucking series, whether it was Crash 1, Crash 2, Crash 3. You had the Crash Team Racing that we also played on the PS. Basically, the PlayStation was my Crash Bandicoot console. Then PlayStation 2 was all about Jak and Dexter. Jak and Dexter 1, 2, 3. And then racing was not as good as what Crash Team Racing, CTR, was. Then you had Uncharted. I will say Uncharted was the one that I got out of. People tell me all the time, you got to play the Uncharted games, and I still do. Those are probably the only Naughty Dog games I have not played. And then you had The Last of Us. Just the first one, not the second one. The first Last of Us game, which was another one to where it's like that game will sit with me and probably forever for like now until the end of time. Last of Us #1 will be one of my top 5 video games or maybe even top 5 favorite video game experiences that I have had in my life. It's just almost every single game that Naughty Dog has made has been an absolute hit with me and has been something to where I can look back at my gaming career, my gaming life, and have a fond memory of almost every single one of their games.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, me not owning a PlayStation, I don't want to say can't give an opinion on it. but it's more of like obviously my opinion comes from like watching people play it, and yeah, I mean they're one of those companies that they're always consistent. Well, most of the time,
Well,
a good chunk of the time they're consistent.
I'd say, and yet again, maybe you can help me here in a way because you know more about like gaming, basically like past gaming and remembering it more than I do. Obviously, Last of Us 2, kind of some mixed reviews, so let's push that one to the side. But the Uncharted games, everyone loved those games, right? Like there wasn't like oh, these two Uncharted games are great, but this last one sucked.
Um, there is one that people didn't really care for,
Okay.
and if I remember correctly, I think it was the last Uncharted game.
So Lost Legacy, or is that a DLC?
I think that's a DLC. I think it's Uncharted 4. I think is the one that people didn't like.
There we go. Thief's End. Yeah, that one came out in 2016.
If I remember correctly, I think that was the one that people didn't like.
Okay.
And it was mostly, once again, for a similar reason of why people didn't like Last of Us 2, of like story reasons of like, okay, this just makes the character look dumb.
Yeah. Is Neil Druckmann in charge of was he in charge of Uncharted 2? Like he was with
At the very end, yeah.
Okay. Let's see.
I'm just saying.
Yep. Right
Coincidence?
there.
I think not.
Right there. Directors. You had Bruce Straley, but also Neil Druckmann as a director of Uncharted 4.
I'm just saying, dude, coincidence? I think not.
Is there any other... So, Naughty Dog for me was the top. That was the king of the king. That was, for me, my number one game dev. Is there a game dev we have not brought up, Soapy, that you want to give some love to as we give love to our favorite game devs of all time?
Let me look at my list here. I mean, kind of ones that I like their games, but aren't like a holy shit. Like I can go on super long about them. Maxis Games, aka the guys who made The Sims.
Yeah.
The Sims is a series that I've always loved, which is always really weird. Because I remember, I think Sean brought it up one time when we were to watch along when I was just playing random games. He's like, "Soapy, you were the last person I'd expect to play Sims in like Minecraft."
Here's the thing with The Sims, and yet again, this is going way back when like we had a family computer, and it wasn't like now where I have my own computer that's just mine in the household. What my dad would love to do way back in the day when Sims 1 first came out was he had a like big book of houses to where it was basically like house designs and shit because he was like a carpenter type of guy or a home improvement guy, and he would go into the game and all he would do is put in the money cheat so he had enough money. And he would basically go to a house. And
he really would spam the fucking motherload cheat, huh?
He would then go to like a house in that book that he liked, and he would just make the exact dimensions, exact rooms, and then basically my sister and I, he would save all these houses. We then would be able to use them whenever we actually wanted to play the game and could actually have like houses whenever we just wanted to fuck around and kill our Sims.
I mean, hey, Sims really does bring out like the psychopathic side of people when everyone's like,
like
right,
take away a door and then have the toilet not work and try to escape.
Or before they had it that the Sims could crawl out of the swimming pool. Hey, let's delete the ladder. That's like the OG. Like your child's gonna be a psychopath because they like watching the Sims die.
Oh, then I was a psychopath, Soapy.
I mean, hey, gaming really does cause violence that I see.
But go ahead, finish your thought before I wrap everything up.
Yeah. I guess one last company, and I guess if it had to be like, oh, this is absolutely my favorite, I would say Obsidian Studios. Obsidian is one of those that, like, a lot of people would hear that and be like, oh, look at that Xbox guy liking an Xbox studio. But no, like,
it makes sense though. It's the games you fucking played.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Obsidian just became a Xbox studio, but it's the fact
but
of
still.
I'm kind of lumping in their old name that they used to be as well, because obviously their old company isn't around anymore. Obviously, because they're not Black Isle Studios anymore. Like, the fact that this is the team that created Fallout 1 and 2,
Yeah.
in my opinion, the best Fallout in Fallout New Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, Fallout is definitely one of my favorite franchises. You know, I hate to see what Bethesda's done to the Hoy, but
Yeah.
it is what it is. I'm trying to think of just other games they've made on top of that. Like, I know they helped with... Oh, let me just pull up the fucking list, because I had it up, and then I closed it like an idiot.
Mm-hmm. Soapy's like, I did have it up. I swear I has it up.
Basically, you know, just even with games that they're coming out with now, like, they're working on Grounded, which, fine game. Avowed's a game they have coming up. Outer Worlds is one of the games that came out, what, 2 years ago?
Could get an Outer Worlds 2 this weekend.
Yeah, we could. We probably won't, but we could. Like, it's just, a lot of the stuff they've done, hell, they even made Stick of Truth.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they've, all the times when they make games,
yeah,
like, me going into it, like, obviously, a lot of people will judge them on, like, how buggy, like, Fallout New Vegas was, which a lot of people hold against them, but they don't realize they had less than a year of dev time to make that game.
Yeah.
And they outshined Bethesda in every fucking capacity.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because, and I've always said this with them, they have devs who care about games. Like, obviously, you know, companies are in it to make money, which I don't need to get into that whole, I don't want to say conversation about it, because it's not really an argument. More of like
that
a debate
complaint, that rant.
Yeah. But like like their devs, when they're making a game in a franchise, they study that.
Yeah.
Like, hell, I think the reason why, like, a lot of people don't realize of why a lot of people put them on a pedestal when it comes to Fallout New Vegas is the fact they fucking wrote the script on this thing. They know this thing like the back of their hand.
Yeah.
And the fact of, like, that's why everything in New Vegas feels like it fits in Fallout. While, like, you play things in, like, Fallout 4 and it's like, that, okay, why is that a thing?
Yeah. So, so with you, it's just you wanted to throw in Obsidian, and of course people are going to go, oh, Xbox guy throwing in the Xbox Studio right at the end.
Yeah. I mean, hey, those people can get over it.
I mean, yet again, like, this is the thing. Studios that are our favorite. Like, for example, Tim bringing up Telltale and BioWare and Hilarion. I'm assuming a lot of the games he has played and liked have been from those studios. Like I mentioned with Naughty Dog. I loved most of the games that I have played. I say most because Last of Us 2, yet again, the cynical adult in me, rather than like maybe I have fonder memories of Crash and Jack and Dexter because I was more of a kid when I played those, to where it's like if you have fun playing games, they're games you like, obviously you're going to like these devs. Soapy, I actually have an idea, and I am springing this onto you of what we are going to do for tomorrow's show, because we are not doing a news show tomorrow. This was actually, I thought about this. I was like, shit, I had this idea 2 weeks ago, and we didn't do it. So I want to do it before this weekend. What I am going to do tonight, Soapy, is I am going to scour the internet for a list of predictions that people have made about E3 this year. And basically, instead of you and I coming up with our own, we could maybe mention, if we have like a prediction, like we don't have to force it, but like if there's something where it's like, hey, I think this is going to happen, we can obviously mention it. But instead of us coming up with our own list, it's basically like, hey, these are all the predictions out there on the internet. Do we think like, hey, X prediction, is this going to happen? Is it not going to happen? And we'll kind of have our E3 prediction / preview show tomorrow, because E3 is obviously this weekend. Summer Game Fest starts on Thursday. E3 is Saturday through Tuesday. So we will do that tomorrow, and I will have a list of the predictions that we will go over. But that's going to do it for MVP Games Live today. Make sure to hit that like and sub button if you liked what you saw today. Also, let us know what you think down below. What are your favorite game devs of all time? Is it one of the ones we talked about? Did we not mention a game dev that definitely should have been brought up in this conversation? Let us know down below in that comment section. Make sure to join the Discord. Link is in the description. Make sure to check out patreon.com/MVPvids if you want to support the channel. That link is also in the description. And then, like I said, hit that like and that sub button and also that notification bell. Soapy and I will be back tomorrow talking more games. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you to everyone in YouTube chat chiming in during our live show. We wouldn't be able to do this, guys, without you. Thank you for everything, and as always, have a good day, everybody.